Good evening, everyone. My name is Anjali Austin, and I currently serve as the chair, of Florida State University's School of Dance. It is my pleasure to welcome you to what I feel is a very, very special event. The celebration of Dr. Nancy Smith Fichter on her 90th birthday. If I can just share a little bit about my relationship with Nancy. It actually began when I was 14 and a high school student doing dual enrollment between Rickards High School and coming here to take ballet with Maria de Baroncelli. I didn't have much interaction with her then. What I realized later is she had her eye on me. This is particularly poignant because it was here at FSU in 1975 when Dr. Fichter invited me and one of my high school classmates, Barbara Rollins McGriff, to take a master class with Arthur Mitchell, co-director of the Dance Theater of Harlem. That changed the trajectory of my career. I became a member of the company and danced with them for 13 years. Dr. Fichter had her hand on me, then and now. I am but one of the many who can attest to this. Tonight, we will hear from others who have been graced by Nancy's hands, revisit her choreographic works, share in her story, and have the great gift of hearing from Dr. Fichter directly. In that, I find it appropriate to say, welcome home, everybody. Nancy is in the house.
To give us the occasion, which we're clear. We're here to celebrate Nancy's 90th, whoo, goodness, 90th birthday. So just a bit of background about Nancy, Dr. Nancy Smith Fichter. Okay, so she has had a distinguished career as an artist, teacher, author, and an arts administrator. Embracing both the artistic and academic worlds, she has made an invaluable contribution to the field of dance. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in English and a Master of Arts in English from Florida State University and a PhD in dance and related arts from Texas Women's University. Her artistic life lies in the field of choreography. She has created over 90 choreographic works for Florida State University dancers, other universities, and professional companies. Her work is widely known through teaching and choreographic residencies and consultancies throughout the country. Dr. Fichter's pioneering work in dance administration has been based on her belief in the model of the conservatory within the university. She has been instrumental in the acceptance, or was instrumental in the acceptance of dance as a major art form with the place in university curricula. She served as chair for the Florida State Department of Dance for 33 years. During that time, she nurtured the program from its beginnings in the Department of Physical Education to a nationally recognized top-ranking Department of Dance within the School of Visual Arts and Dance. Under her direction, Florida State implemented the first dance major in Florida and the first BFA and MFA dance programs in the Southeast. She helped define university dance for many programs in the country. A few of the awards that she has received include the Florida Alliance for Arts Education Award, the Outstanding Contributions to the Development of Dance in Florida Award through the Florida Dance Association, which is now known as the Nancy Smith Award. She has served as the editor for the publication of Dance Administration, Themes and Directions, and served on the executive editorial board for Arts Education Policy Review. In 1991, she received Florida State University's highest honor, which is the Robert O. Lawton Distinguished Professor Award. And her list of accolades go on and on. As we see, she's also a founding member of the Council of Dance Administrators, as well as served as the president of the National Association of School of Dance. So that is our perfunctory list of things that she has done, but we know that she has done so many more things that we could never list categorically. There was a short video that Florida State prepared to kind of highlight some of Nancy's things in 1984. And so we're just going to watch that video shortly.
Florida State University's School of Dance is one of the finest in the country. How that came to be is the story of Nancy Smith Fichter, who we'll meet on tonight's Southern Circuit. For 25 years, Nancy Smith Fichter has been busy building a dance place at Florida State University. What she's accomplished is the creation of a dance department ranked among the best in the country.
1, 2, 3, 4. That's all on 4. Okay, spin on the left. 5, 6. And a 2-foot jump, which is the definition of a jump, isn't it?
As soon as I got my master's in English, I was hired, I think on the next day after I got my master's, and it was a surprise to me. I was hired to teach dance here. It was then in physical education. And I did that for 5 years, and I would keep going back up and studying, and I was, I guess, working out then whether I was going to try to make a dance life in New York as a professional dancer, or make a place to make dance.
20 years ago, a professional dance training center in a university was simply unheard of. Serious dancers went to New York. Today, thanks to Nancy's hard work, FSU's dance department is among the country's foremost centers for dance training and education.
It took a lot of developing the acceptance and the recognition of the importance and the validity of having a major art center, you know, on the campus. I've been very lucky because I have had some really enlightened administrators to work with who've been enormously supportive, and wonderful faculty.
Florida State in particular has a wonderful dance program and an extremely supportive chairwoman, Nancy Smith Fichter, who always has her eye on the Graham Company because she was trained in the Graham technique. She has great respect for what it can do for her students. Not everyone who comes through these doors is going to join a major company, but the level is at that, the sites are at that level, and those that don't have been involved in that kind of atmosphere, and they teach on that kind of level themselves if they go out to teach or to choreograph.
When you can have a faculty that have people like Peggy Lyman on it, Maria DeBaroncelli, Richard, you know, for people who are significant, active, practicing artists, but also wonderful teachers. I think the greatest design project I do probably is the greatest challenge is trying to design a staff that has that set of balances in it. Then you can produce professional dancers. You give them professional training, and you can get professional dancers, and a place where you can develop choreography and repertory.
Last December, after a 12-year sabbatical from performing, Nancy Smith Fichter delighted the audience at FSU's annual 8 Days of Dance program by performing in a piece entitled Mother Ring.
I loved doing it. It was pretty scary. It was being very much on the line, because you've been training and working and directing dancers, and all of a sudden you're in their position. And the piece that I was in was choreographed by Sharon Hyland, and I had enormous trust in her. I thought she did a fine piece, and when she approached me about doing it, I had said, and I wasn't being facetious, I said, yes, if it requires very little technique, and because I don't have that anymore, but lots of angst, because I do have that, you know, it was a pleasure for me.
And pleasure for Nancy has taken on new meaning. At 53 years of age, she claims she's thoroughly loving her midlife crisis. This May, she'll celebrate her 2nd anniversary since marrying FSU faculty artist Robert Fichter.
You know, I have the feeling, God forbid if anything happened to Robert, that I'd probably go right back to the way I was living, which was alone. But it's been wonderful and surprising and a real rich thing that's happened. He's the most interesting person I know. You know, in addition to loving him, he's also just the most interesting person I know. So we always have a lot to talk about.
See, the thing is, you have performers carrying out your work, so
You have human instrumentalities carrying out your
so
work,
you have to be
right?
dependent upon them as well.
Yeah.
I like your idea of when you were performing, of being able to rush out on the stage and fix things up.
But if you're a performer, you think, I can, if something happens, I'll cover, I'll do
Right, yeah.
this.
I think something has happened here, and I'm glad that I have been part of that. I want to go on making pieces. I want to go on having that kind of active life. I also want more quiet time. I want to see some other parts of the world, more than I've taken the time to do. Lucky, yes.
Now we will have Dr. James Frazier give some remarks on behalf of the College of Fine Arts.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure because I can't see you. I'm not sure, and I can't see myself, so I'm not sure, but I'm going to go forward. It is such a pleasure to be here. I prepared some words so that I would stay on time and keep us moving forward. To say that it is my great pleasure to be here in celebration of the life and legacy of Dr. Nancy Smith Fichter with all of you would not only be an understatement, it would be a lie of monumental proportions. In this moment, there is no place I would rather be. Today, I appear before you on screen to wish a very happy birthday to this amazing human who has meant so much to me personally and professionally over the past 30 years. In my official capacity as the Dean of the College of Fine Arts, I want to acknowledge Nancy for the seminal and lasting contribution she made to Florida State University, building a world-class program for the training of dancers in the context of a university setting. For myself, as a leader of dance in higher education, I acknowledge her for the role she played as part of the Council of Dance Administrators in developing the principles and guidelines that would become the National Association of Schools of Dance Standards for accreditation. As a dance professional, I want to thank her for being a mentor and a role model. Her mantra, "Do it with love," has served as the foundation of my work. Her example, being an active chair, teacher, and artist, spoke to the way that I wanted to function when I myself became a dance department chair. Her intellect, wisdom, and grace set the bar that I am still striving to reach. I have a debt of gratitude and abundance of love for you, Nancy, and I feel especially blessed to have benefited so profoundly by having been in your orbit. I will forever contend that I am what I am today, in no small part because of you. From my heart to yours, I say thank you, and I wish you a very, very happy birthday. Thank you.
just going to go into a few more sets of general remarks, and then we're going to go to our viewing of soundings. So I'm going to call Cricket for our next set of remarks.
I'm here. Thank you. Thank you. I'm actually in North Georgia. We got hit with Zeta, so I have my flashlights and all these generators hooked up. So if I go off, it's because the powers that be. Wow. Oh my gosh. Watching those photos, my heart's like beating in my throat. Oh, it's your 90th birthday. I am truly and humbly honored to be included in this glorious celebration. The day this planet was blessed with your birth. I remember the first time you took my breath away. It was 45 years ago. Seems like yesterday. I was 17, auditioning for the dance department, and gracefully with force, you glided into the 403 studio. I will remember it like it was yesterday. This was the beginning of my, oh my God, moments that I would witness in your presence. Your actions every day have been gifts to all of us. You always challenged us to live life that shined and provoked thought. You taught us to be instruments of communication. There are so many moments, my friend, that I have just treasured and will always impact my life. But since I'm only given like 2 minutes, and I know that I could be put on mute by Russell or the powers that be, I will only give 2 statements that you gave to me that truly changed my life. The first one was I was in your composition class and I was petrified. It was my turn, my very first time to go in front of you and show what I had created. So I stood up and I walked over to the space to perform. I turned and made a comment. And the comment was, I am so sorry, but this is not very good. And with that, you stopped the class, you stood up, and you told me, but truly you were telling all of us, never apologize for something you have worked on. This plants a seed in your audience. Let them come to their own decisions. And furthermore, and this is the key, why would you do anything different that didn't take your whole heartfelt commitment to do? This powerful statement breathed a new life into me and renewed my strength. This became my life guide. And if a situation should make me wander or for whatever reason be unsure, I would learn at that time to pause, prepare, and take courage to achieve whatever I aimed for. Now, the second one was literally an eye-opener for me, no pun intended once you hear it. You were restaging people dances for this incredible piece, especially because you and I had that common love of North Georgia. Anyway, there's the segment in the dance, and I know you all probably out there remember it. There's a hat that's involved with it. And Nancy kept describing the color, the form, the vision that she saw that you had, that you would like to have this piece be part of. Anyway, so I would bring in colors and fabrics and swatches, and every day, still thinking I had it right, and your response was, no, that's not quite it. So after several attempts, and I love this, you walked into the costume shop with a bottle of cough syrup and said, this is the color I am seeking. And at that point, my world became illuminated, like someone lifted a veil off my eyes. At that moment, you taught me not just to see my surroundings, but experience my surroundings. It's hard to put this aha moment into words. I will never look at the world again after that day. My surroundings is what you taught me would become my experience. Thank you for that. And on a little side note there, we ended up using Robert's hat because he had the best one and found it. So, well, I know my time is up. And so I thank you for all the provisions you have given me all my life and my life's journeys. Thank you for constantly renewing my spirit, my soul, and always breathing new life into my dreams. Happy birthday. And of course, I know I'm saying from all of us, We have been blessed with you to carry us to the places that we needed to go, and we will always do it with love. Thank you. Happy birthday.
All right, Rachel, thank you. That was so great, Cricket. Go ahead, Rachel.
Good evening, everyone. And of course, happy birthday to Nancy, who's actually, have the honor and privilege of being in her house right now, and being able to experience this from inside Nancy's house. And I have the honor and privilege to speak a little bit about her as well. So thank you for that opportunity. My name is Rachel Hunter. For those of you who don't know me, I came to FSU in 2009 as a graduate student and graduated in 2012 and then was hired on as adjunct faculty and production manager and am still those roles today. So I've been here about 11 years, and Nancy, I had the honor of having Nancy as my instructor, professor for choreography and graduate directing, but also so much more, a mentor and also just a guiding light, seeing a woman in the field and sharing a deep love of Judi Dench, which I will get to in a moment. But Nancy, I had the biggest impact, I think, was actually my third year of grad school. Nancy had retired many times, if I am to be correct, that she retired and just, like most dancers, can't truly give it up and kept coming back to teach, and maybe one more year and maybe one more year. And her last year teaching was my third year of grad school, and I was lucky enough to be her TA. The department didn't actually have a TA slot for her, so Nancy actually paid me out of pocket to be her TA for the class. And I was able to spend all of that year just really absorbing her as an instructor, as a mentor, as a friend. Oh, that's coming late. Sorry, people are sending me messages as we're speaking. But her ability to read a room and then lead that room. She could support and encourage every student in that room, regardless of their style or aesthetic, and became one of the most grounded and most liberal arts queens that I've ever had the privilege of knowing in my life. She also introduced me to so much more of Judi Dench's background that it became half of what I wrote my comp exams about leaving grad school. And one of the comments that we shared the most was, Judi Dench has a quote in an interview that it always comes back to spare. And the many conversations, deep conversations about how much can live in that spare and what you can do with it. And it's just been amazing how much that comes into my daily life and how much I still reference all of the notes and everything, anything that you've ever said. There's never been a throwaway line. And so I truly appreciate that I've been able to have the time and energy and shared space with you during all of this. I also have the privilege of introducing the video that we are about to watch.
I'm going to have some remarks from some of the cast members. So we will start with Kate.
Hey, I am Kate Gelibert, and that was not me. That was Kelly Drummond, beautifully performed by Kelly, although Jack and I did do it one of those nights, I think. I received both my BFA and my MFA degrees from the school Department of Dance then, back when Nancy was chair. And right after graduation, she offered me an adjunct position to teach contemporary dance for non-majors. And at the same time, the School of Theater offered me a part-time position teaching movement. So I did that for about 2 years until my position at theater became a full-time tenure earning position. And I remember going to Nancy to talk to her about it because at the time, I really just wanted to stay in dance and teach dance. And I'll never forget, she looked me in the eye and she said, "You'd be a fool if you didn't go for the theater position." And it was probably the best advice I've ever gotten because I've been there ever since. And I now teach dance, movement, I choreograph, and I direct the music theater program there. One of the things I learned from Nancy was counting dance. Every piece, at least that I was in, she was meticulous about the count. Sometimes she'd actually have the score right next to her. And I remember one rehearsal, I must have screwed up pretty badly because She came up to me, and I think there was probably a little bit of hand up the throat going before. She looked at me and said, Katie, what are you doing on the E of the count five-ienda? And I had no clue. I had no idea. And I probably started crying a little bit. But from that moment, I wrote down every step and every count of every piece that I was ever in with Nancy. And I did it with soundings, especially that beautiful Brahms solo, because I remember that had like fives and fours and all kinds of stuff to it. When I did that solo, I remember thinking to myself, if I live through this, I am going to have the best left leg extension in the whole world, because that leg was up all the time, and ala second and Arab everywhere. And it was just a killer, but it was a beautiful piece, a gorgeous piece. And I was so grateful to be dancing in it, and so grateful, not just for that, Nancy, but for all the beautiful choreography and all the beautiful dancing. I'm getting all kinds of, but happy birthday to you. I love you dearly. I'm done.
Thank you, Kate. Let's go with Kelly.
Hi there. I don't know if you can see me or not. I can't see me, but hopefully you can, and that you can hear me. I am zooming in from the beautiful little island at the end of the world, Tasmania, on the land of the Muanina people. Wow, it's been, I guess, 30 years, Nancy, and you are still right here. Every day I'm in the studio, and I don't know if you can see, but I'm here. Russell, you'll be very pleased, with a sound desk, loading in as we always are. Oh, turn to get some light. Is that better? Hopefully. So yeah, I'm in the beautiful Long Gallery at Salamanca Arts Centre, loading in for Graham Murphy, a new work, Seven Deadly Sins. And having got my left leg in the air for that beautiful soundings, it doesn't go as high anymore. So I am stage managing and producing for them at this point, rather than dancing out all the moves for him. But when I'm thinking about, you know, what to say to the one and only NSF, as everyone has mentioned, it's, I think it's the love, you know. I carry love with me in everything I do, or I try to, in that what I learned, even as looking at that at Soundings, remembering how schizophrenic I was, trying to live up to the challenge of doing both Jack and Kate's roles. And it was a risk, you know, and it prepared me to take risks, to be prepared to fail, and to have the courage to be vulnerable. That vulnerability of the throat of the wrist, all of those beautiful things. So I think in my life as an artist, I've risked, but I do it with love. I've failed, and I've done it with love, as a mother, as a daughter, as a wife, in all of these things. I failed many times, but I know that as long as I do it with love, it's going to be okay. And I have tried to live my life with that at the forefront, make choices with love. And I miss you all dearly. I'm at the other end of the planet, but yeah, Seminoles forever. Thank you so much, and happy of happiest birthdays, NSF. Love you.
Thank you, Kelly. Now we will hear from Jack.
Darn. Am I there? I think I am.
Yes.
Can you see me? I'm sorry.
Yes, I see you and I hear you.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, good, good. I've got a note from Pat Fenda, Nancy. That was the original solo from Timpani. She says, yes, I will never forget Timpani. Well, she lives in the Tampa Bay area. There's two of us who's done this dance in the Tampa Bay area. First of all, the honor of being selected for a solo with Nancy was a thrill. The rehearsals were a challenge, but worth it. I can still feel the sensations of joy of performing on the big stage with a percussionist. Several of the other grad students were pretty jealous, but everyone added to the success of the content. Please send her a resounding happy birthday to Nancy. Yeah, I agree. I can still feel the sensation and the joy of performing with a percussionist. It was a rigorous dance. It was a thrill. The energy of working with Gary Rudisham, he was so attentive to what we were doing and what I was doing in the very beginning, those big kettles and that opening. I was so excited to begin that suite, setting the tone for the expectations. And this is when I learned it with Lane Sales and Linda Davis prior to this setting. I almost forgot about this setting. I mean, a lot of my dancing is sort of, you might say it was a dream. You know, some things are just gone. But I was so excited. It was so dramatic. There was an element in all of her pieces which were theatrical. They were visceral. And that in itself made an extreme dent on me as a choreographer. All of her work was very exciting. But I can talk about the rigor and her ethics. As Kelly said, it was challenging. She did it ethically. She had the responsibility to work on us. She was passionate. She created a spiritual environment in that studio. The imagery of the wrist, as everyone says, the neck being the most vulnerable, expressive parts, talking about discipline as a piercing of the flesh, a needle threading. She got us to come up to her standards. That's what she did. And they were extraordinary. And when she did, when a work was on its way to becoming something, she would strut by and say, I'm like the ever-ready rabbit. I just keep on going. It might be bunny, but it was rabbit. And we just had to listen to those words because I think it was a warning if we just listened to her, that self-imposed rigor that she also addressed in us, as in knowing what to count and was of 15. They were life lessons. They really were. I'm sorry, I have to read for something. But we didn't dare not be prepared. I mean, that was the inspiration that she led in the studio. It was an exquisite pressure, and that's a theater term in terms of creation. It was instilling a sense of ethics that we had to work on ourselves as much as she worked on us. And she worked that, as Michael Foucault said, it was a freedom for our bodies, right? To work on us. The best custodian for our standards was us under her gaze. And then we had to listen to the ever-ready bunny. And in listening to that, we found that we had to count furiously. We did count furiously. We counted in 6 and 3s and 5s and 11s. And in other pieces, she would demonstrate something like a phrase of 3 followed by 7, then 11, then 5, then 9, then 31. Then she would turn on the music. And we had to listen intensely, always deeply. She taught us to count beyond what we normally were comfortable with, like a musician, right? It was more than an exercise in difficulty. It was a life lesson. And the physical part, I loved the woman's solo. You know, I could never jump. You could see that. I performed it always in the wings. I loved it, and I would do it before we did the duet, and I thought to myself, oh my God, the solo following this, her thighs, after all of those extensions and depliés, going into this sprinting marathon. I remember being really frantic about loving the rest places that came up in that duet, especially when the hands crossed and went down and up and up. And she taught this in slow, exquisite detail, like the one thing where the elbow came in and then the arm came out, and then she would count it, and that movement just went all over. And I guess it was a challenge to a person who loved to move very slowly. I thought, as always, that the work with her on every level was transformative. It expanded me, it expanded everyone that she worked with in some mutable way from my work with her. And actually, it was her work on us, her work with me. Happy birthday, Nancy.
Thank you so much for that, Jack. We have Linda Davis, who was not able to be with us tonight, but she wanted to send her message. And so this is a picture of the theater dance trio, which Dr. Smith Fichter was the artistic director of. And her message says, I'm going to start with the last one. As often happens with Nancy, she creates an enormous creative bubble with all of the inspiring currents of artistic vulnerability. And as she continues to do, helps the dancer find and understand the difference between the big and the little. Rehearsals with Nancy and the poetic way she brings form to her vision remains a forever personal imprint. Linda Davis. So I just wanted to share that. Now, I was like, what are we doing now? We also thank you all to everyone who left such wonderful messages, either via the Evite format or when you RSVP'd. And I just want everyone to know that all of those messages will be compiled into a lovely keepsake book, filled with pictures and things, some of the images and stuff from tonight that Nancy will get to keep. So she will be able to browse through all of the messages and all of the well wishes that you all have sent for her in that book. And she'll always be able to go back to it and look through it. I am just going to read a few of the messages that came through. Wait, I have a slide for that. So we have a message from Libby, which says, wishing you a happy birthday and many blessings on your 90th. It is hard to believe it is possible that so many years have passed since Don and I have moved away from Tallahassee. You were and continue to be a great influence. Then we have Peggy Thrasher. It says, dear Dr. Fichter, may you find a full measure of joy today and every day of your full and radiant life. We celebrate your wisdom, gracious leadership, and your unique way of proceeding with love for the art of the dance and for the dancer. Brightest birthday blessings. We have Jerry Houlihan, who says, dear Nancy, thinking of you and all the wonderful adventures I was able to share with you during my time at Florida State. You have inspired so many, myself included, and I hope this 90th birthday brings you joy and a reminder that all you have envisioned has had a ripple effect that will continue on and on. Kick up your heels and have a grand celebration. And I'll do a special little birthday jig for you here in scenic Durham. Sending big love, Jerry. Carla Lester, wishing a day full of love, laughter, and moments that make your heart smile and your soul dance. Happy birthday. So those are just a few of the samplings that came in the text format. We also have one that was sent in by Susan, and I'm going to ask Jack to read this one.
From Susan Taylor Lennon. You have been my role model. Ever since I first set eyes on you, I'd watch you crossing the top floor of Montgomery Gym all dressed in black, leotard, tights, and skirt, your hair pulled back into a tight ponytail. Whether heading to class or to your treehouse office, you were the epitome of grace and determination. Then one day, you floated across that same floor all dressed in white, your hair cut short in a pixie cut and your dark eyes glowing. At that moment, you became the goddess of transformation. What a joy it has been to witness your continuing transformations over the years. You are as graceful and as beautiful now as you were then. Thank you for sharing your wonderful life with us. I love you.
Thank you so much. We have just a few more remarks that are on program, and then we will get to hear from Nancy. So next up, I'm going to call Brian Palmer.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Palmer, and I was a student in the Masters of Fine Arts in Dance program between 1999 and 2001. Besides Dr. Fichter directly, what I'll share with you includes experiences with my fellow cohort members, Carrie, Denise, and Alex, as well as those before me, Adele and Tiffany, and those right after me, Letitia, Stacy, Lamus, and Jennifer. While I was a graduate student there were 2 times in which I had the opportunity to work with Nancy as a choreographer. The first one being a restaged duet for a series of dance repertory theater performances. The duet was a challenge requiring technical proficiency, artistic development, and partnering skills. The rehearsal process was a joy. There were 2 cast members of females that I would perform with, but I would say 3 if you count the rehearsals in which Nancy would dance full out with me in her demonstrations. When the time came for the performance, we were having trouble with the big lift. The ripstop fabric of my costume presented some challenges in achieving what Dr. Fichter saw as a pivotal moment. There where the music swells, this big suspended lift had to be achieved in a split second to match the silence in the music. It ended up going well, but I hope after 20 years, Curry and Russell can forgive me when I reveal that I had to put some rosin on the pants to make sure it worked. We wanted to please her, and I'm glad that we did. The next experience was in our graduate directing class when Dr. Fichter used a solo section of soundings as an exercise for our class in coaching and directing. The question was posed, how do you restage work that honors the choreographer but allows permission for it to breathe and have continued life? The material was rich with dynamic, challenging technique and a fantastic score. We worked on this project for a month, first working with Nancy to understand the movement, its intent, and to make sure that it was embodied with specific details she wanted us to understand. Next, we practiced setting it on each other where she could instruct and critique our progress. And finally, we set the solo on someone with degrees of separation that would allow us to be independent, but bring back the solo for final presentation to the choreographer and instructor, Nancy herself. Dr. Fichter was so giving and warm in allowing her choreography to be explored for the purpose of learning. 20 years later, I still remember a majority of the solo. My body memory must want to hang on to that beautiful movement. Thank you for that time we had together, and happy birthday, Dr. Fichter.
Thank you, Brian. And then our last set of remarks will come from Sarah Harkness-Sebastian.
Hello, everyone. Hello, my dearest Nancy. Like everyone has said, I can't see everyone, but I'm hoping you can see me and hear everything I have to say. There is so much I want to say about Nancy, so I do have my remarks prepared because there are important things I don't want to forget. I received my MFA from FSU in 2011, so I was there from 2008 to 2011, and I got to pass on the torch to Rachel Hunter as Nancy's TA. I'm now down at Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Florida, so I'm carrying it on, the legacy, Nancy, that you and everyone gave to me in my FSU family. So here we go. How do I even begin to express in words what Nancy Smith Fichter means to me and so many of us? Nancy is the epitome of practicing what you preach, for she does everything with love. Nancy has dedicated her life to sharing her love for this art form with all of us. Not only a love for the work itself, but for what it brings to our lives as a whole, making us more complete and pathetic human beings who, through her example, have seen what it means to truly live, dedicated to a life dictated by love. I first met Nancy when I was asked by my fellow grad student to dance a solo from Nancy's work in Liedertanz. Many of us in her directing course probably learned that work or another of hers over the years, as the assignment was to learn the piece and then stage and direct it on another dancer for the assignment. I was nervous and excited to be asked to participate for many reasons. I wanted to do right by my fellow student for her assignment, but I also wanted to do right by Nancy's work. I was fairly new to FSU and I wanted to make a good impression. I had briefly met Nancy in passing, but this would be my first glimpse of her in class and the first time I would be dancing a solo for her. I definitely remember wanting to impress her. The theater was named for her, for goodness sake. She was a legend. What calmed my nerves was Nancy herself. From the moment I entered the room, she was welcoming and gave me her complete focus. I felt like a member of a very special community because of the environment that she had created, and I really enjoyed that day in her class. I knew I was happy with my decision to attend FSU, but this encounter with Nancy had confirmed it. I felt like that in all of my encounters with Nancy, whether as a student in class showing work, or even in a casual conversation at a concert reception in the Black Box. When you are with Nancy, you feel heard, seen, and loved. The woman is a legend, but in the moment that she is with you, she gives you everything she has as if you are the most important person. And she takes a request for feedback very seriously, telling you what you need to hear with respect and thoughtful reflection on your work. She only ever wants to give advice that will help you grow and to live this dance life in the best possible way. She does not want you to cheat yourself of this experience, and she challenges you to dig deeper when you need to. I returned to her directing class, this time enrolled as one of her students, and was very honored to be asked to assist her in passing down leader tons to the next group of dancers. A class that turned out to be one of the most enjoyable groups I have ever worked with. And again, that was because of Nancy's leadership, because of the environment that she created for us, one to dare in, to fall in, to fail in, and discover in, and to love deeply in. I was also very blessed to work with Nancy in rehearsal. I asked her to direct my performance in one of my solos for my thesis concert. I discovered a heart and soul inside that work that I never knew existed until she guided me there. Often, when I think of some of the most magical moments of discovery in my life, Nancy has played a key part. I recently had the very great honor of dancing another of her works, The Window of That Other Summer, originally set on Linda Davis, and also danced by and passed down to me from Alora Haynes, fellow FSU alum and chair of fine arts here at Santa Fe College. Alora directed me to choose different memories to see at different moments in the piece, especially in a moment when I was to simply stand downstage and scan the audience. I chose to simply picture Nancy. I heard her voice the entire time I was dancing. And before each performance, of course, Alora always reminded me to do it with love. During a dress rehearsal, in a moment of insecurity, I shared with Alora my fear of letting Nancy down by dancing the solo any less than perfect. It wasn't that I felt any pressure from Nancy herself. It was that I wanted to represent her work the best possible way because of the deep love and respect I have for her. Alora reminded me, you could never let Nancy down. And she reminded me that Nancy was already so proud simply that I had put myself out there on the stage and was continuing to do what I love. Nancy has continued to influence my life and work, and I have sought her advice many times. I've cried with her about my uncertainties in life and love, and I even house sat for her and Robert in their Waverly Castle. I've had the privilege of participating in artistic residencies at the Lillian E. Smith Center because of her encouragement. I've weathered the storms of life with her voice in my mind, gently coaxing me, and sometimes giving me the tougher nudge that I need. Love guides Nancy through the thick and thin. Love for life, the bitter and the sweet. And to live a life like this means a life truly living. And oh, Nancy, to live even a bit of how you have lived. Whenever I'm frustrated or nervous about how a class or a rehearsal or even a personal relationship is going, or when I am about to do something difficult or painful but necessary, and I'm scared, I suddenly hear Nancy saying, do it with love. For to do it with love does not simply mean to do what we love. I've learned from Nancy that what it really means is that we must do the things we find difficult with the most love that we can muster. And for those of us who have been lucky enough to cross paths with our dear Nancy, we have known what it means to truly be loved. Happy birthday, Nancy. I love you.
It's so hard to respond to all of this because this has been such a generous outpouring of love. And congratulations on not becoming so very ancient. And I thank you for that. I thank you so much for all you have done. Before I thank you, I want to thank Russell and Rachel and Joyce for this morning, and Anjali for giving me the best 90th birthday. I may just have another one, you know. It's been so great all day. You have mentioned love a lot, and you've mentioned the fact that we do, I used to always say before you went on that stage, do it with love. And that's not just, it may sound just like a sentimental statement, but as I've tried to explain before, it's not that. It takes that to get this job done. This job demands things that are beyond the dimension of what we think is just our will or perhaps our wonderful skill, but it demands a much deeper kind of journey inside yourself, and you have demonstrated that. And I will say that you've mentioned through all of this program the word love a lot, and I wanted to make clear that that's what I meant by that word. And I will also say that I could not have done it with love without you. You know, I always felt your love, even though at times I felt your frustration, as I'm sure you felt it from me. I felt your lack of hope sometimes, although you always seem to regain it. And you're the ones who gave me the strength. And you're the one who fueled me with love. So please know that I love dance and I love movement and I had a great passion for it, but they did not exist without you. So I thank you so much. And I thank you for having been part of my journey. I don't know what the future holds, but I will always try to hold up your standard, which was that you did it with love. Thank you so much. Is there anything that
Nope. That's it. Thank you.
Well, let me just start by saying my heart is so full. Happy birthday doesn't even seem enough at this point, but so happy to be here and a part of this celebration and thankful. I'll say a little bit more in a moment, but let me just start with saying, I'm switching gears a little bit here, that in honor of Dr. Fichter's birthday, I invite you to help us continue her legacy. And this by making a gift to the Nancy Smith Fichter Scholarship. This is a scholarship that was endowed in 1997 when Nancy retired. 83 donors, alumni, friends, and supporters of this school made gifts over the years to grow the fund. Just 6 students have received this honor. Of those, this includes Liz Dalal, MFA 2012, Erica Leeds, BFA 2015, and Brianna Dean, BFA 2018. For Erica, the scholarship made the difference so that she could attend American Dance Festival. You can read more about how much the scholarship meant to them, each of them, in the article published on Dance's website. Our goal is to give out a scholarship, a Nancy Smith Fichter scholarship, every year. To do this, we must grow the fund, and that's where we need your support. Giving is available online now. You simply can go and visit give.fsu.edu/, Nancy Smith Fichter. A printable giving form is available on that site as well if you would prefer to send in a check. To mark Nancy's birthday, you can also make your gift with a pledge of $9 a month or $90 a year. So I hope that you will consider this. For my final comments, I'd just like to say, Dr. Fichter, Nancy, thank you for all that you've given, all that you've shared, for modeling courage, integrity, and grace. You are a treasure to each of us, and we love you deeply. Happy birthday.